Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? We start early over here. I don't know where everyone else starts late, but over here we start early. Here. I don't know where everyone. Oh, wait, reverb. Sorry. Okay, but everybody can hear me? Okay. Okay, let me fix this. I don't have a fancy board like some people have. Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing? I'm really excited because I bought this book, is which we're going to talk about for a few weeks, actually. It's a lot to read, and it's a lot of big words, and I'm the kind of person that I can't read through the book if I can't pronounce the words. And so Chinese has tones in it. So like in order to even say the name of the city, it's like Guangxin. So like I'm not going to say it so proper, but it's like really we're going to be talking about a city in particular. Well, it's not a city, it's a province in China, which provinces are like states, and then they all have counties. So Guangxin is the one where we're talking about. So how is everyone doing today? It's raining here in Chicago. So, yep. Beautiful day. So I'm going to say shut up. Surviving life. The guy with the check mark in the chat, he's really big now. And he is going to be doing a stream at 5:30 Central Time about the P word James Charles, who needs to be canceled. So, and you guys get a wonderful PowerPoint because there's nothing wrong with PowerPoints. So today we're going to have to probably I'm going to be showing a movie clip too. So when we do the movie clip, I'm going to have to go big screen. So today we're going to be talking about this book that I saw on Amazon called Scarlet Memorial by author Zheng Yi. If you Google author Zheng Yi, you can find this book, but you cannot find absolutely any information on this man. He is one of the founding fathers of investigative journalism in China. And you know how China is with their communism and hush-hush of all of their wartime atrocities and human ethic violations. So they really don't like that stuff getting out. So you can imagine that it was kind of hard for him to get this stuff done. So we are going to start Cannibalism in Modern China, and we just started reading the first chapter, and there's about 4 chapters. So each, like every 2 weeks, I'm going to do a little bit of analysis and telling you what's in this book, because a lot of the stuff you can find online that's like factual about these actual events are like scholarly articles that you have to pay for. So for like $40, you can read the article for like 5 days, or you can buy the book. This book was like $50. It was one of the few soft copies I can find. Otherwise, it sells from upwards from $100 to $350 for the hardcover. So yeah, you want to dono in the link tree because books are not cheap. Do you know what a book is? Surviving Life, my biggest fan. Just kidding. So I am going to start. Yeah, Zheng Yi. Z's are pronounced as J's, okay? So Jen. So let's get started with the beautiful PowerPoint I got for us. So, okay, I have questions. We're going to be talking, this whole thing starts with the Cultural Revolution. If you guys know anything about the Cultural Revolution, put 1 in chat. If you know nothing about the Cultural Revolution, put 2. I want to see where everybody is at, because not a lot of people know what the Cultural Revolution really was. Because if you think about this, yeah, there's a lot of 2s. Overnight knows. Yay, it's Star Stairs knows. Yeah, okay. So the Cultural Revolution was happened in China between the years 1966 and 1976. And it was started by Mao Zedong. And Mao Zedong was the also known as Chairman Mao, started this the Communist party for the Chinese Communist Party. He was the founder of it. And it's also called Maoism in China. And he He was the chairman of that group from 1949 until he died on September 9th of 1976. So he wasn't really like the ruler of China. People think that like he was like a president or like the ruler or whatever. No, he was just the head of the Chinese Communist Party. And the Cultural Revolution is one of the darkest periods in Chinese history. And if you're looking at these pictures, China was basically no buildings, no cities between 1966 and 1976 when this happened. So you have to think about where China is today, how it's more modern than like some of the biggest cities like London, San Francisco, Chicago. They modernized pretty quickly because like if you think about it, like I was born in 87 because I'm old AF and this ended in 76. So that's not too far off. So the Cultural Revolution is where Mao Zedong did this amazing feat of mobilizing all of the youth in the country. He basically told people, let's cancel schools, let's start a great revolution, the great proletarian revolution, and bring back the old revolutionary spirit of the Marxist Marxist-Leninist communism ideologies that I believe, which helped compromise Maoism, which is the type of communism that Mao Zedong was promoting. And the youth were the major element in this. So he basically started this big cult movement in the youth saying that we had to bring back these type of communist ideologies if our country is going to survive and be able to modernize and get up to speed with everybody else in the country. And in order to understand why the cannibalism happened during this period, so it's really important to understand this part of the history. So like if you see here, these pictures during the Great Cultural Revolution, the students and all of the Red Army Guards, which is what they called these people here, they basically would take anybody that was preaching any old ideals, old customs, anything that dealt with old China, which they deemed as unsuccessful. They would take figures like teachers, pharmacists, and hospital workers, such as doctors, and they would shame them in public, torture them, and kill them. So that's what you're seeing them display here in public. So, like I just said, the four olds: old customs, old habits, old ideas, old cultures. So he wanted to completely obliterate any of that knowledge in the minds of China. So that had to be done. And he would give out these little red books, mobilize the Red Army. And we're actually going to be looking at a little bit of a movie clip. It's probably about 10 minutes long. And I want to show it just because hundreds of thousands of people died throughout China. It's one of the darkest periods. The generation of Red Guards is considered the lost generation of China, absolutely brainwashed. And there are still people alive in China today that were, in the Cultural Revolution. So this is still fresh in people's minds. And it's something that the Chinese people aren't allowed to talk about because China doesn't like to admit defeat or any type of failure in their government and political system. So we're going to look at this movie clip from Zheng Yi. And it's about this guy whose family was, they had some issues, but they were trying to rebuild their family. And then the Cultural Revolution hit and everything changed. Their children were thrown into the Red Army. There was marriages. And I particularly want to show this clip because it shows how the cities looked during this period, how the youth were being mobilized, how people were being brainwashed, and how this affected people from a macro to micro level. So when we look at the cannibalism, which thousands of people died during this scene in Guangxin, we want to look at also the micro level. So you can see how this affected people on an everyday scale. If Welsh Dragon is saying something that's inappropriate, he's already 3 times you're out. You can just ban him. I don't care. Anyways, so we're going to play a movie clip. This is, if you guys are disturbed by lots of blood, it's going to be a little hard to watch. So trigger warning. If the mods can let me know if this falters just a little bit, and if you play this back, if this clip is gone, it's available for free, the movie on YouTube. So you can always look into my playlist where it says movies. So we're going to look at this real quick. I just have to find the part that it's at. I know exactly where it's at. So it's going to be about 10 minutes. So backdrop to the scene. This guy's daughter is about to have a baby, and a daughter is in the Red Army, and her husband is one of the head bosses in the Red Army, and she's having a baby, and they go to a hospital. And this is where we see how much the youth have been brainwashed. So let's see. Let me get it in the right spot. So let me know if you can hear this as well.
人家说凤霞身体特别好，没有问题。
那医生说什么时候生啊？
医院说她宫缩正常，还得等几个小时。
凤霞，别紧张，一点都不疼。到时候啊，你就吸气，使劲儿，使劲儿的时候啊，咬一块毛巾啊，毛巾。
And I'm probably gonna cry, so you guys just warning.
哎，别把牙咬坏了。大夫说怎么着你就怎么做，很快一使劲就全好了。
哎，你听你娘的啊，使劲儿，一使劲儿啊就全好了。
使什么劲儿？还早着呢，现在使什么劲儿
And that's supposed to be the doctor, because they killed and tortured all the doctors because they were too revolutionary.
没事，应该的。算一算，你们做，算一算。我看
我看这些人都这么年轻，都是些护士吧？
刚才谁给凤霞检查？
就是他们。
你没见着大夫？
But yeah, basically little kids, college students, like freshmen, high schoolers, took over the spots of important people like bankers, well, not bankers, like doctors and pharmacists and stuff.
哎，同志，你们妇产科有没有大夫？
我们就是啊。
我是说老一点。
哦，老的那都是反动学术权威，都被打倒了。你放心，你爱人的情况。
Those people were called reactionaries, so they had to be disposed of. They were seen as a threat to the communist revolutionary spirit that they were trying to promote.
儿媳啊，我还是不放心。咱凤霞是个哑巴，跟别人不一样啊。你说这些年轻人能行吗？
得想办法找一老大夫来，哪怕他在那儿待着没用的，咱心里也踏实。
这得从牛棚里带一个人出来。我想想办法。
This is what China looked like during that period between 1966 and 1976. They didn't even build any cities like we know today until the late 80s. So they're going to go get a doctor. He has a sign around his neck saying that he's basically a traitor. And so they're going to bring him in, and if they got caught for this reason, they would be in trouble. So they're going to think of an excuse.
把王明带来干什么？反动学术权威不能到这儿来。
王斌，站好了。就是这个王斌，当年在这所医院里污蔑我们工人阶级的妻子生理有缺陷，不能生育。是个人，孰不可忍？今天我们把他揪了，就是要用铁的事实来教育他、批判他，让他看着我们工人阶级生孩子，让他看着我们红色江山后继有人。
还是工人阶级觉悟高。王明，在这里只许你老老实实，不许你乱说乱动。
是，不乱说乱动。
That is true.
对，呀，这就是妇产科的王教授，这是他头一把手。
Sorry to bore you with the movie clips, but I think it's important. And this is a great movie. Zhang Yi is one of the greatest Chinese directors of our time. I know, we should just watch it. It's on YouTube.
还是带着好，带着。
你过去问问。
I'm trying not to touch my keyboard because I always mess up the YouTube video. I did that like 6 times the other day. Yeah, we did a rate of blood. You're welcome. Like, I didn't even know any of this stuff happened until I went to school. And I'm like, wow, this literally happened during when my mom was young. Like, this is how recent this is. And the fact that this is erased from so many history books in China is insane. So they're marching the Red Guard through the cities, and the old people are kind of like, what is going on here? Like, thank you. But I watched this movie in school when I thought about how this affected people. Oh, wait, did it? When I thought about how this affected people, this particular scene came to my mind. It's very powerful.
您慢慢吃，不着急啊，多着呢。
哎，你说咱凤霞生孩子，不会是
To Live by Zheng Yi.
那会不会是瘸子？
镇长不是说了吗？二喜是工伤，不会遗传。
Because he's a doctor, and all doctors were seen as counter-revolutionaries in the communist agenda. So doctors, school teachers, is that what he? Opa, doko desu ka?
你说给孩子起个什么名？
It's gonna get exciting. I mean, not exciting, but it's gonna get intense. You'll get why I'm like showing this, like how this affected people on a micro level.
你看见馒头顺嘴就叫馒头，那哪是人名？
哎，这是有讲头的。你看那猫啊、狗啊、馒头啊，都不是人名，不是人名就上不了人名册，上不了人名册。
안녕하세요。
找不着人名，孩子的命就保住了。 老一辈人都这么说，
那就叫馒头。
咱们现在
We should do a movie night.
小名
We should.
等孩子长大上学了，冠名他爹起。啊
That's all like communist propaganda that they have posted all over the walls. There's still tons of it posted over the old cities in China.
男孩7斤2两，
生啊！
怎么一点动静没有就生了？
不是跟你们说没问题吗？
哎，同志，我女儿怎么样啊？
怎么样？
没事儿，母子平安啊。
那孩子胳膊腿都还好吧？
好着呢。
让我们进去看一眼行吧？
那可不行，感染了怎么办？
你就把这个门帘标个缝，我们就看一眼。
哎，求求你了，小同志，就看一眼。
就看一眼。 Oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna mess up my makeup, guys. I'm gonna mess my makeup up.
是凤霞生了吧？生了，生了。
这个男孩，母子平安，7斤2两啊！
这声大着呢，在里头呢，在呢。
哎，不能进。
他大夫，让我进去看看。我是他爹。
谁的爹也不行，都这么看没完了。
啊。
你们啊，在外等一等，我们处理完了，很快就出院。回家以后再好好看啊。
好，那回去再好好看。哎，二喜，是男孩吗？是男孩，是男孩，7斤2两了。哎呦，太好了！孩子怎么样？晚上孩子都好。哎呦，这呀，二喜，你可真有福气。是，当年我那个儿子出生的时候才5斤多，你这7斤2两，可以了。来，你们俩呀，先到厂里去。
If you don't like a lot of blood, Serendipitous Soul, you're not going to want to watch. Trigger warning, lots of blood here soon.
二喜啊，大人孩子都没事儿啊，就把人王大夫送回去吧。
怎么了？ 哎，你们看怎么了？吃太急了，吃太急了。
We're watching a film clip that explains the Cultural Revolution affected the Chinese population on a micro level, because we're about to talk about it on a macro level in terms of mass cannibalism in modern China, and a lot of people aren't very aware of what the Cultural Revolution is. In response to your comment, Truth Hurts. It's almost done. It has like 2 minutes. So everybody, calm the tots.
水，
喝点水。
小心烫着。
喝点水就好了。
没事。
Yeah, that in the next 2 minutes, I would not watch it. Serendipitous if you're not good with blood.
我给他买的馒头，吃太急了。慢慢喝。
快来啊！产妇大出血，止不住，大出血止不住了，怎么办啊？止不住了，快来啊！快来，快来！这有看了，我快来！快点啦！这怎么办？
你慌什么？给我想办法呀！
我们学生我没处理过，我不会啊。我们学生。
And that was a problem with having the Red Guard mobilized to such positions. So many people died, not just because of like a rare instance like cannibalism and because they were seen as class enemies, but just in everyday situations that account for such a high death toll that we'll never know the full fatality rate that the Cultural Revolution had on these generations of people.
我吃了7个馒头撑着了。
怎么给他吃那么多？
不知道啊，一下没看见，他就全吃了。他说他3天没吃饭了，刚才喝水的时候这已经好了。
他吃多了不能喝水，不能喝水。
行吧，往前给他拉过去，拉过去。快点！
大夫，求求你，大夫！我就是不知好人家，我想要你家在这无法。
小心干嘛？
王大夫，王大夫，
王大夫怎么样？
不行，还是不行。
又揍我了！小心！
我就这一个女儿了，我就剩这一个女儿了，大夫。
The baby lives, guys. I'm sorry, spoiler. The baby does. The baby is alive. Damn it, I know I messed up my makeup. I'm so sorry. I'm like crying. I've seen this movie 25 times. Just to let everyone know. Now if I can like get it off the screen, that would be great. That would be great. I have to go back in my presentation now, so everybody just hold on. I messed up. Yeah, so like the baby lives, everybody, just so everybody is aware. So but it's sad because if you think about the everyday folks that got affected by these like huge policy changes that Mao Zedong put in place, like there's no reason like a college student, a freshman, or even a high schooler should be put in positions like these. And that's the problem with the type of communism he wanted to instill. There was a sense of equality, like the working man, you know, the proletariat against the bourgeoisie. But it's like the everyday effect that it had, so many people were affected. Now on to the stuff, the juicy stuff. So here we're going to be talking about the Guangxi province, which is here, and then it's all broken down into different little cities. And I have to look at my book, and I wasn't going to do a big PowerPoint presentation, but I have to like go back and forth to the book just because that's where a majority of the information. And Guangxi was an autonomous region that was set up in 1958, and it has a heavily population of non-Han Chinese. And non-Han Chinese are people that aren't like indigenous people of China. So people that were like the original people by the Yellow Basin were considered Han Chinese. So that was seen like the ethnic pure Chinese bloodline. So it was a lot of ethnic minorities that lived in this group. In this little city here. So right here we have a picture of a family, and I found this at a comparative studies page for Cambridge University Press. Here this mother is passed away, and I guess from what I read there was some excerpts because this was like $150 article, and I was like, no way. From the excerpts I found, I guess the family did end up eating their mother. So there's a little backdrop on the story. So one of the powerful quotes at the beginning of this book I saw that was Mao tended to view the Chinese masses, whom he once called blank, as well as poor, as actors with a fixed role in a political drama, not as participants with their own thought. So when it came to ethnic minorities, which could be a threat to the type of totalitarianism, it's such a big word, guys. I feel like Ron now. Totalitarian ideologies that they wanted to promote in order to bring back this revolutionary spirit. People that were a poor rank or that were non-Han Chinese were seen as kind of like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like problematic to that goal. Yeah, it is fascinating. It is. So they thought about this. Was this really a revolution? Was one of the questions that Zheng Yi asked. Because was it a revolution in the sense of Mao was the one that started it and he was the one that was there when it ended, but it was such an epic failure. And a lot of people agree on that. So what type of revolution was this? There was hundreds of thousands of people that had died, people that were eaten by cannibalism, starvation, mass famine, people like in the last movie clip that were just trying to have babies and try to live their life and survive this revolution were casualties of this. And it was basically between class enemies and the elites. So the elites were anybody that had money, that were doctors, that were pharmacists, that were bankers, that were landlords. Anybody that had any type of high position in society was seen as the enemy, somebody that was a counter-revolutionary. And another thing that struck me in the first chapter was they said that people didn't fight this cannibalism. They faced death like lambs, just laying down and waiting to be killed. Sometimes they would even put a mirror up to the victims' faces so they could watch themselves be eaten by people that used to be their neighbors. That is how intense this was. Sometimes the cannibalism happened out of because people were hungry. Sometimes it happened because it was direct orders from the Communist Party's local offices that made the people in Guangxi trying to do this. And it wasn't just an isolated incident. There's more incidents that it says that has happened beyond this, but I haven't been able to read that far into it yet. Yeah, de-evolution is what it says to me, basically. And the New York Times published an article in 1996 that read, copies of the documents have been smuggled out of China by Zheng Yi, a prominent writer wanted by the Chinese authorities for his work for the democracy movement of the Tiananmen Square in 1989. If any of you guys want to hear about Tiananmen Square, I have pictures. I was there, and there were many cameras. After 3.5 years as a fugitive, Mr. Zheng is to arrive in New York on Wednesday. Some ugly details. At some high schools, students killed their principals in the school courtyard and then cooked and ate the bodies to celebrate a triumph over counter-revolutionaries. The documents report. Government-run cafeterias are said to have displayed bodies dangling on meat hooks and to have served human flesh to employees. So the New York Times even acknowledged this. And it's from people like Jen who just said basically, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say the F word, fuck the Chinese government, which I wholeheartedly believe, who were brave enough to go back in the 80s and do this reporting and then go back and like stand on the front line and be a martyr for human rights in Tiananmen. It's people like that we need more of in today's society. And it's because people are unaware of that and people who won't stand up like that we have, the camps going on like in Xinjiang, China right now. Right here, this is a picture. I can't read the guy's name, but This is a Wushuan county, and it's a county in Guangxin where the cannibalism was prevalent, and there are still signs up today, if you go there, that have the propaganda and stuff still on the walls. This is the author, Zheng Yi. Like I said, I had to take a picture of my own book because if you Google this, there is nothing on the internet in Google. You won't find any of this on the Chinese websites either. And in the book, the genre and investigative journalism that has sensed the Cultural Revolution revealed the political and historical secrets of the CCP, and its leaders were led by such journalists as Dai Qin, Liu Binyan, and Zheng Yi. I didn't know any of this either. I was searching for makeup caddies on Amazon, and this popped up because my algorithm pays attention to me. So I found this website called Chronology of Mass Killings During the Chinese Cultural Revolution. On July 3rd and July 24th, 1968, the CCP issued 2 public notices to the entire nation in which the party's central and Mao sternly ordered mass fractions to end the armed conflicts immediately. However, to establish order and revolutionary power, the public notices also gave the green light to regional and provincial military and government leaders to suppress one of the mass factions, usually the rebels, by armed forces. In some provinces, such as Guangxin and Guangdong, the suppression turned into a new large-scale massacre of unarmed civilians and the dissident mass faction. In September 1968, a few months after the bloody suppression, revolutionary committees were established in all provinces of China. This is going to be in this book. We're going to look through I think it's called the July 3rd Bulletin. What is it? Yeah, the July 3rd Bulletin, which is where all of this cannibalism takes off. But as you can see, it actually happened in another province called Guangdong. It is still happening. They're actually right now harvesting human organs from Muslim minority groups in Xinjiang, China. It's happening right now. Now, before I go on a rant, the author talks about 3 things in here: Rendao, humanitarianism; Renqing, human sympathy; and Renxi, which I couldn't figure out the direct translation, like the characters for, human feelings. And he said these were 3 principles that were really prevalent and important in terms of Confucianism and other Chinese spiritual sects in China. And these were type of the 4 old things that were seen as counter-revolutionary. So Mao and the other communists were trying to abolish this type of thought. So they said, these kind of things were taken from the people and it was replaced with this like cattle-driven, like cult-like mentality to like kill people. And it was sad. So I'm going to go through this. It's going to be through the book because I wasn't going to type anything. So in 1968, Zheng Yi went to a city called Nanning, which is the capital of Guangxi. He heard about this cannibalism and he said, I have to go check this out. I have to go investigate. So he went there and he met his friend Li Han, who is the author and deputy editor-in-chief of Guangxi Literature. So he went there and he got a pass from the political office to be able to have the freedom to ask whatever he wanted. And so he said, I'm going to get down to the purpose of this. And the purpose, he said, I intended to collect historical materials on various ruthless incidents during the Cultural Revolution and to analyze the poisonous effects of ultra-leftism from a psychological perspective. The psychological, because imagine how far gone you have to be to just eat your own neighbor, like to eat children, to eat somebody that used to be your doctor. That's super fucked up. I'm just going to say. So they said when he was talking to this other guy, what was it? He was introduced to like heads of offices, and the head of a certain county's, armed office said that when he visited there, that these people he found out that headed the orders to get people to commit this cannibalism, guess how long in jail these people were given? The officers that were telling people to kill people to eat. Everybody take a guess. This is going to piss you off more than any other estimate we've gotten in any of our on streams. I want to hear guesses. Guess how many years? I want to see it in the side chat. How long you think they got in prison for this crime? Unless my chat is being 5 years. That's a good guess. Okay, I'm about to read it. The book says, head of a certain county's people's armed office who initiated the slaughter of numerous people had been given the relatively light sentence of suspended capital punishment. Some people weren't even given any time in prison at all. And it was because those who should have been sentenced to death were allowed to live, and those who deserved stiff sentences went free. It could not have been more forgiving. Of course, the more generous you are, the sorrier they feel for themselves. 90,000 innocent victims were slaughtered, while only a dozen criminals received capital punishment. Even though the guy killed 26 rather than 50, this murderer has the gall to claim that he had been treated unfairly. So this guy wanted basically a retrial because he said that he only killed 26 people instead of 50. So he said that his sentence was he was being unfairly treated. So they took away capital punishment. 90,000 people, and a majority of them didn't even see prison. These people are still walking around. Let that sink in. These people are still walking around. Yep. So let that sink in. So I guess there's a few a few cities in Guangqing, like little counties. Wushuan, Rongguan, Binyan, Shanlin, Zhongshan, and others. With Wushuan, oh, it's so hard to say. It's Wuxuan. The X's are pronounced almost like should, like sh. So Wushuan, I think. My Chinese is terrible. It's so bad. And he said that the further he went in investigating, the further he went into these cities, he found that he knew that in China, the higher the bureaucrat, the tighter his mouth. But he wanted firsthand material and information, which is important when you are studying and researching anything. You want firsthand material and information. You don't want something that Facebook Stephanie's mom found that has been processed by 20 times through the mom group before you even get it. That is not research, okay? Just putting that out there. And he said, to heed my personal safety and never to act on my own. My friend Wei also advised me when I travel to the scenes of earlier crimes, I should always make sure to register with my local authorities first and always to conduct my interviews in the presence of a local official. Because there was a life danger going in to even get this information. Unreal is putting it lightly. So this is a heavy topic. So I'm not going to do too much more. But I'm going to save the rest of it for next time, like the book stuff. But a little bit of what I've read so far is that a majority of these people that killed each other knew each other. They were neighbors. And that there was actually no acts of heroism in any of this. Nobody decided to be a hero and stop in and say, hey, no, let's not kill this person. Let's not do this. Let's not eat them. None of it. Nobody did anything. They said sometimes, like I said earlier, people just sat down like lambs and took it. Sometimes people fought back, but it was very seldom. So they said that this brought people to devolve, brought them back to the primitive ways, but then showed the exact extent of what totalitarian regimes can project on people. So I also read in there that one of the instances of that they did, that they would kill and butcher and boil people alive on schoolyard properties, which is what we read earlier. And that the head up of the Chinese communists party in those local areas, they would, I think gallbladders and livers was a delicacy. So those people would take that and then they would give the poor people like the feet and stuff. So even then there was an inequality in the cannibalism. That's so like they were trying to like take away and equalize, the working man, but yet they were creating another class system within their horrendous cannibalism. So yeah, yes, they would fight over certain body parts and people in the area that he actually interviewed people that ate people, which is what we're going to get to next time. And he interviewed the people that were being eaten, that didn't get eaten. And he said that people were saying comments like people that were from the area or something tasted better than foreigners, or this people tasted better than this. The insanity, the rabbit hole we're about to go down is insane. And I don't want this to be too long because I want it to be impactful like it is every time we talk about it. And me talking out of a book, because this book has little print, guys. A lot of big things. It's a heavy topic. I already had a nightmare tonight. So I want to kind of keep it like a little bit, little bits each time. So I don't know. I mean, I can understand like eating someone. Like I know there was that one movie where there was that like soccer team or whatever that ended up in the mountains. I don't know what mountains it was. And they ate each other because they were starving. Okay. And they didn't even want to do that. So to be pushed to starvation to the point like a survival instinct, I can understand. And some of the people were pushed to a survival instinct, like the first picture we had. Those people were the type of people that Mao didn't want around. He was seen as people that would be detrimental to the revolutionary spirit that they wanted to impose into the new Chinese Communist Party. These were people that he was trying to basically purposely starve out of the class system as well. So it wasn't he wanted to get rid of the elites. He wanted to get rid of the super poor and keep the working class. But if you just take away two ends of something and you put it there, it's just going to progress into two other sides. Everything like has to have an opposite to survive, the yin to the yang. So yeah, it's kind of fascinating what we're about to dive into. And we've already been talking about it for a little over, almost an hour, but I want to keep these things short because I'm going to like do this like maybe once every week. So next week I have my kids. So the week after I'll do one. And then the week after that, I'll do one, the week after that. And there'll be like 4 of these shows. And I'm going to try to get more pictures. And I even talked to my friend, a few friends that were from China. They had no clue this even happened. And I mentioned the word Tiananmen. God forbid I do that. And they're like, and they don't want to say, oh, don't talk about it. They just say the same thing. Oh, Ashley, you know more about Chinese culture than I do. They don't even address the fact that I say Tiananmen, which Tiananmen Square is something that if you Google that in China, your computer screen goes blank. And I've seen it happen. It's called the Great Firewall. The people there I feel so bad for that think they're living their best lives. And they're really just so hampered down to so little of the world. Like they don't know it. So it's not like a bad life for the people that are the middle class there per se, but it's like, imagine it like some people that really don't know and they leave and they just figure out all the stuff that happened. That's going to be like an inside culture shock of its own. So hopefully in our lifetime, I am praying to any God out there. Hopefully in our lifetime, we'll see the Chinese Communist Party come to an end. But before that happens, we need to have some type of, that's when people say, why do we have to be over there? Why do we have to be over there in certain things? Like we need to build more type of like political rules and laws within our own big countries like UK and America to help rebuild these countries when they're done. Because if you don't want communism around, you have to be there to help build up. Otherwise, that whole economy is going to collapse, and that's going to cause a whole world economy collapse. We have to all be there together for everybody, okay? I always say, I said this for a different thing Leanne might know. If we all need the fire department if our house is on fire, but if your house is on fire and you go out saying, somebody please call the fire department, and somebody says, hey, why does your house matter? All of our houses matter. And then you just let the house burn down, the whole world is going to fall down. We all have to be there for each other. So if we want this stuff to stop happening, we have to like kind of stand up and be there to help these people rebuild that we're innocent, bystanders in it. That's my little rant. But yeah, we do have it lucky. Because I mean, when I was in China, I knew what to expect. I was scared a little bit more than I should have been because the way that I would people thought made me think it would be a third world country. And let me tell you, it puts the American metropolitan areas to shame. It was fantastic. I was good enough to have Like, I'm poor in America, but I'm rich in China. And I was hanging out with people that had Rolls Royces, $20,000 bags. Like, it was rich. But then there was people that like worked for my college that were living in a closet in a room with 5 people with no windows. The average salary of a Chinese person, I think, a year was $4,000, I think. So I spent $4,000 in 5 weeks. So I had it lucky. So we don't know how good we have it. So that's just something to keep in mind too. So I'm going to do an after chat here and about, well, I did put 3:30. I think I'm going to move it to 4. So if you guys want to ask questions or just going to talk, I'm going to move it to there because I kind of don't want to hinder the streams just in case anybody comes back. I don't even think I have another slide. That's the end of my slide, I think. So I hope everybody enjoyed the little bit that I did. I know our infrastructure is terrible. And I don't know where my tax money goes, but I can tell you, the state of Michigan, their state flower is the road cone. Their infrastructure for roads is always under. So I hope you guys enjoyed what we covered so far, but there's so much more, but it's just me reading out of a book for like forever. So did anybody know any of this so far? I didn't know any of it until Amazon recommended it. I don't know what the UK time is. It's 3:14 for me right now. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And if there's any donations, thank you. I don't have fancy bells and whistles, but I'll thank you later. Yeah, it inspired me to make a picture of Mulan. I painted this yesterday while I was in voice chat with everybody, and I even made it glitter. So I was inspired. It kind of like matches my thing. Like, I still don't get like how this works yet. Look at it. It looks like. Yeah, read stuff. Like, when I tell you that I'm old school, like, I go online, but I read books. So like, I was reading this book, Born Red. I got this book out of a free book bin. I buy books everywhere. And the cool thing about used book kids, here's a note if you're in college, they already have the notes in them and they're all underlined. So thank you to whoever owned this book before me. And this book is from, I don't know, Jay Stewart. Thank you, from the history department. This is a New York Times book. This book was so hard to find because they don't have it online anymore. And then this book, China in the 21st Century, What Everyone Needs to Know. I read books. I love books. So thank you. So I hope everyone enjoyed. But thank you so much for coming. There'll be an after chat. I'm going to change it from 3:30 to 4. And then Ron at Surviving Life has a great stream. I'll show you on here. It's coming up very soon. So Ron's stream is going to. This looks spicy. Ron has a stream coming up here soon. James Charles, it's over, sister. So if you guys want to head over there at 5:30 Central Time, he'll have that going up. So 2 hours. So in an hour, I'm going to have like a half hour after chat. So it's 3:16, so 4 o'clock. Yes. But yeah. Yeah, I did dye my hair and I got my new earrings in too. My hair looks terrible. But these are Steve Sasko, Edie Sedgwick replica earrings, and they're gorgeous. So thank you for everyone for coming. 83 people. I've never even had 83 friends, so I feel pretty special. And if you're wondering what I'm drinking actually, Ron, this is supposed to be stuff that I was going to send you. It's Skittles flavored water, and I'm drinking it out of my Sailor Moon wine glass because I'm sophisticated. Thank you. Yes, Steve Sasko Designs. He makes the earrings, as in he puts in all of those gems in by himself. These are the cheaper versions, but the other one has crystals in them. And they're gorgeous. They're lightweight. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I hope you come next time for another disturbing video of what the fuck did I just watch. And the film that we watched, let me see. Oh, that's my other YouTube. Okay, hold on one second. Let me show you guys something. Okay, if you go share, I wish I just had a button like Ron did. If you go to my channel, if you go to playlists, if you go to Asian films, I have a lot of good movies here. So this one's To Live. Where is that one? It's the second one. And then I have Raise the Red Lantern, Grotesque, which is a gore film, one of the best Japanese gore films ever. Don't watch it if you don't like gore. I threw up. We have Phone, The Red Shoes, Pulse, and these all have subtitles. I don't know what this one's called, but they hide the names so they can have them on YouTube. Witchboard, the original Ringu, One Missed Call, Suicide Circle. You pushed my buttons. Audition is a disturbing breakdown of Audition. So my playlist has like movies on there for you guys to watch. I think this one's just, oh, I have another one for films, but this one's not Asian, so I don't know why these are in here. But like I have the disturbing movie Iceberg that Ron put on there, Jesus Camp, which is an excellent free movie, and music, sociological things. This one I have good things. Like if you're interested, I have stuff, the original tapes for the Milgram Experiment, a Class Divided film, the Zimbardo Stanford Experiment, a lot of different stuff that's actually really interesting that'll blow your mind. So, and then I have like a section on Japan, Asian culture and history, which has a lot about Chinese Cultural Revolution between 49 and 76. What is it? And then that kind of stuff. So I put stuff on there for you guys. Yeah, anything by Takahashi Miki is a go. His stuff is fucked up. Let me tell you. I just keep thinking that sound where they go, kiwi, 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 where she's like, oh, putting the needles in the eye. Oh, okay. King of Masks. But anyways, thank you guys. After chat in 30, 40, 40 minutes. 40 minutes. And then we're going to head over to Surviving Life stream afterwards. So thank you. Everyone have a good day. And thanks for coming.